What some have called a slump over the last few weeks is a tremendous opportunity for reinvention. And whether the former president and the campaign allow it to happen, though, remains to be seen. Kamala Harris is getting a clever makeover. Mr. Trump can and should use this moment to reintroduce himself to the electorate as well. You know, just because the Donald Trump who charmed audiences on Oprah or once made small talk with the ladies on The View has battle scars today, yeah, it actually happened. They used to love him. It doesn't mean that he can't show voters that he's so much more than a rally speech and a social media screed. Team Trump needs this charm offensive now, before the sentencing in September and the massive commercial ad buys about January 6th to come.
So I love that they just have to throw out before the sentencing. You know, the sentencing that our candidate is going to have as we cruise towards the election. But I like that. I mean, he says some are calling it a slump. Yeah, because it's a slump, buddy. We call it like we see it. But he says he has a chance to reintroduce himself. And look, on some level, that's vapid advice. There are few people in America or possibly the world that people have more knowledge of, okay? I don't think there's a lot of blank slates that are waiting to meet Donald Trump. But in another way, it's not the worst advice. He should try to craft a new persona. Unfortunately for whoever that guy is, like Tom Basil, I think, Donald Trump has no capacity to reinvent himself because he has no impulse control because he's out of his GD mind. But anyway, he gives some more specific advice on areas he could focus on. Let's take a look.
How many Americans know the Donald Trump who loves music? Everything from opera to Sinatra to Metallica. We know Mr. Trump plays golf, a lot of it. What's his secret to playing the game so many people struggle to master for decades? Believe me, I'm one of them. Whatever happened to Grandpa Trump? I loved Grandpa Trump. We saw him at the convention, a smiling former president, one grandchild on his lap, another on stage telling the nation about the Donald Trump most of us have never met. The one who greets his grandkids with bear hugs and kisses, picking them up in the air and making them laugh. The one who prints out a good report card to show folks. The one who's so incredibly proud of his children. Mr. Trump has certainly articulated his understanding of the biblical underpinnings of our constitutional freedoms. He recently discussed his faith with Elon Musk. More interviews about that would be compelling.
Okay, some of that I think is actually good advice, Sharon. I mean, he should talk about his faith. I mean, he doesn't have any, but he should make it up and then he should talk about the faith that he doesn't actually have. I think that's good advice. I love that they put photos of him and Melania. Probably the less said about their relationship, the better. He said he's very proud of his children. I think the host doth protest too much. He's not proud of his children. He might well be proud of his grandchildren. He probably should be. I don't think he's going around bragging about Eric. But anyway, what do you make of that advice of portraying him as like a guy who gives bear hugs or whatever?
It's all fake, but I think if we're giving advice to this guy, he should do it. And one of the reasons he should do it and just make it up, as you said, as he goes along is because he gets graded on a curve like no one I've ever seen before. When he behaves for like 12 minutes. The media, the pundits talk about it like it's a serious change and he's a renewed person. He's dipped his head in water and he's now holier than thou when it's all fake. He can behave himself within one speech and then reverse course and blow everything up. So yes, this is something that he will, privileged as he is, actually get credit for, is outlandish as it would be.
And by the way, it is a perfect example of exactly what Michelle Obama was talking about who gets second chances and who gets the benefit of the doubt and who doesn't. That you can have that guy standing up being like, you gotta do it and you gotta do it now, before the sentencing and before all the ads talking about the time you tried to overthrow the government. Like how many candidates get to organize around those principles? Also, hey, here's a little bit of fun context. Yeah, he used to appear on The View a lot, and he did sometimes charm the ladies. And sometimes on The View, he talked about how he and his daughter have sex in common. So not every moment was a winner. When you click the join button and become a tier 2 member, you get access to all of our weekly top 10 lists. What are you waiting for?